keys that I communicate is, if it was a slam dunk or it was something so easy, somebody else would be doing it. Trust me. So you got to pay some dues as well. And so in order to have your options, that means you're going to have to investigate and try some different things in order to know what works.
Facts. Okay. Self, what you got in that chat, bro?
Charlie Newman asked, how did you have the foresight to enter into the cybersecurity space at its inception?
So, very good question. And when we went, I'll go back to education. There was no such thing as cybersecurity from a discussion. Charlie, we knew you would either have, going to Illinois, it was a prestige to go there and want to get your engineering degree, or you wanted to be able to get your accounting degree. Those were kind of the two big areas. And then the rest of us was either pre-law, pre-med, or had wishes and desires. And those are the kind of disciplines that we were exposed to. For me specifically, the way that the security piece came out, and for those that don't know, when my foresight originally was taking a look at, and I wanted to, after I had gotten my degrees at Northwestern, I had an opportunity to be in financial services with, what's it called? Wasn't Discover, it was one of the Citibank, Diners Club card. Okay. And they were looking at having someone to lead kind of the expansion of their program. That was financial services, or it was healthcare. And for me, this was right when Clinton was looking at the entire healthcare system and what the different demands were. And so I had been in the Bell system there in Chicago for just under 10 years. And once you get to 10 years with an organization, and especially at Illinois Bell and with the telephone companies, you kind of got that moniker as you're a bellhead. And so I didn't want to be a bellhead. was one of the key elements. Right. But when I looked at the healthcare piece, I knew that was going to be something that was going to be booming. And so that's how I started making a pivot and trying to look at what's going to be next on the horizon and where is sort of the pendulum moving towards. And that's when I started that type of thinking. And what got me into the security space was when I was with Reynolds and Reynolds, it was all about Y2K. So remember, everybody thought that all of our clocks, all of our systems, everything, you would get on an elevator and it was just going to crash.
It was a big money grab.
We had major generators.
It was all fear. They sold a whole lot of fear.
Right. I'm telling you, industries did a lot of that. But right there with Y2K was coming along with the internet. And so that's when you could share data, you could share email systems all within a closed system, but with the internet expanding upon that. And so with Y2K and looking at the opportunities, and this is where the options piece comes in, because I had been passed over for a couple of vice president promotions. I remember
at Bell or at Phillips?
No, this was at Reynolds.
Reynolds. Okay, yep.
Yeah. And so at Reynolds, I had responsibility for development and deploying all of their technology. So you name the platforms, I was over, the development of it at some point, everything there. And they had an ERP, system, which was their hub system that would work in an automotive dealer's environment. And it also ran all of the car data and information that when you go to your car dealership, if you get a GM or a Ford, back then you used to, before you had a rental system or an ADP, you'd have to have these multiple computer systems on somebody's desk, which was about as antiquated as you could think about something.
Yeah.
Reynolds was able to have one hub software. And so I managed and developed all of their sales management, their contact management, their basic, structure, their fixed operations, asset, all of those types of solutions. And what they did was they promoted a chick that was in finance. Now, loved her. She was a good person, but she had never dealt with product management, development, hadn't brought anything to her.
Leading
And
the whole team,
Right. And so she got that next, and at this level, this is an officer level at $1 billion plus corporation.
Man.
So, and I was just right under that. And I said, wait a minute, if this is a goal, what am I going to have to do in order to get over this hurdle? And so at that point in time is when
she's probably a hot blonde with big fake, big fake. Go ahead. Yeah, right. I digress.
So what they did was they thought they were just going to throw me some old, turd or a dog to,
a bonus.
As an option. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
They said, look, the healthcare as well as the financial sector industry has privacy and security laws and issues. We need somebody to develop the business case and the plan for it. And in 2002, I was asked to, and this usually, if someone asks you to do what they call the proverbial project, the special project is how you used to look at it. Most people don't want to take it. It usually takes them left of what they think their career and their opportunities are. But again, I looked at it as I'm going to take this option and I'm going to turn this into something powerful. And that's how the security piece came in, because at that point in time, I took a look at some of the privacy and the data protection laws, and I was one of the first to combine it with the IT and the security department. And I created it as one, and I communicated not only internally, but I also showed, because I had the experience of managing products and the sales experience of in the beginning of my days.
Right.
That helped him when he was talking to Congress. Right. Go ahead, bro.
Right.
We'll get into that.
I made it something where I had a value proposition, and I showed that it was more than just doing something to be compliant, that it was the lifeblood and something that would generate revenue and sustain a business. And so when you're able to have that conversation, it blew them away, it shocked them, but I was on the cusp of turning something and combining it, I guess, to Charlie's initial point here, where not only did I look at it, but I got on the ground floor, coming at it from a business angle, and a business where a lot of my peers, if they grew up in IT only, they're pretty much tunnel vision and they can only see the technology. And so that's how I was able to combine and transition it into something a lot more powerful and something that any of the C-suites can resonate with, which also allows me to have a step ahead and a leg up, over others.
Yeah, and it sounds like it was a time where the Fed, you mentioned the president at the time, Clinton, so they were throwing money at the issue too. So it was going to be a need. And even if you sacrificed and got in at the ground floor, you knew through your skills and your ambition and everything else, it was, you saw the potential risk reward. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So, hey, just for anybody who's just coming in, we're with global cybersecurity specialist, and this is Michael McNeil, and he's also working for McKesson, and we're about to get into that side of it extremely shortly. And I did want to give a big shout out on his behalf and my behalf on the Kappa League, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we want to give a big shout out to those guys at with the Kappa League.
Yo.
So, and and a yo. So, and big ups to all the ticks and training, I guess, right? So.